Yeah, I got it. Thank you. Her foot's hurting her like crazy again. She put on these shoes.
Really? I didn't have any at home.
One more! Not one more! Not one more! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! Hands up! They were also what do you like about it? Hands up! Don't shoot! Ho ho! The NRA has got to go! Hey! Ho ho! The NRA has got to go! Hey! Ho ho!
Remember me, though I have to say goodbye. Remember me, don't let it make you cry. For even if I'm far away, I'll hold you in my heart. I'll sing a secret song for you each night we are apart. Remember me, though I have to travel far. Remember me.
That's a very good question. She was invited to this event, and she's not here. Perform a blessing song for us to get this event started. Here she goes.
Feel free to hum along and hold the hand of somebody you love.
No.
hasli, hujun hasli, hujun hasli. Donna hayat nada, hujun hasat ole, hujun hasli, hujun hasli, hujun hasli, hujun hasli.
All right, we're gonna do another song before we get speakers started because I want to let everybody from the march come on in. So here we are.
No estará el camino que debo seguir, Señor, por mi bien, yo quiero vivir un día a la vez. Un día a la vez, mi millón, es lo que pido de ti. Dame la fuerza para vivir un día a la vez. Ayer ya pasó mi Cristo y mañana quizás no vendrá. Ayúdame a ver, yo quiero saber un día a la vez.
Alan Weber.
You guys are beautiful. You are spectacular, and you're the change we need. In the intervening 18 years, 6,913 days, 187,000 children at almost 200 schools have known the terror of an armed gunman turning an ordinary day at school into a horrible lifetime of trauma. No more. 11 times already this year, communities of parents have had to rush to their children's schools in a desperate race to find out if their lives were the next to be ripped apart. Kindergarteners are being trained to hide in supply closets to prepare for an active shooter. That's right, we are now teaching kindergarteners about active shooters. We are having our youngest school kids go home and tell their mothers they need new shoes because their light-up sneakers could get them killed. And this is madness. This is absolute madness, and we have to stop it. Now today, here on this plaza, and in hundreds of communities like ours, we're making change and we are witnessing change. There is hope in the air where there once was only futility. And here's the reason. We're here today and change is happening today because our young people are leading the way.
Intergenerational leadership, which means adults stepping aside and listening to our young people. We are asking for common sense gun laws for our protection of our young people. We are calling for a resistance that is about resistering, which is about interconnection, it's about an action and energy of love, which is about bringing community together like here today.
Francisco Paco Fernandez, 17.
Jalen Wiley, 16.
Now we'll take a moment of silence.
My name is Leah Wolfsberg, and I am 17 years old.
My name is Thomas Chadwick, and I'm 17 years old.
Before we begin, I want you to hear a little bit about where I am coming from and my perspective. I am half Malaysian, but as my dad likes to call it, I'm also half Californian redneck. So I was raised around guns, but now the objects that I was comfortable with are now striking fear into the hearts of my peers, and this is unacceptable. Myself, along with Thomas and Leah, stand before you today to advocate for the safety of our lives and the lives of American youth, and to stand up against gun violence in our country. In a time as dire as this, our country needs students to stand up and advocate for their lives. During the Greensboro sit-ins, it was students who put an end to discrimination. It was students who put an end to the Vietnam War. It was students who have driven the Black Lives Matter movement, and now it is students who must advocate for the safety in our schools and the protection of our lives. Once again, to stand up and invoke change in order to prevent more young lives from being stolen at the hands of a school shooter.
Now, we must demand a different right. The right for us to go to school or college and not worry that someone armed with an assault rifle can enter and kill us firing 45 rounds a minute. The NRA says the Second Amendment is sacred. I say the lives of each and every one of us is far more sacred. So I believe it is time for America to rethink the Second Amendment. America, it is time for a change. It is time for us to change gun culture. Now is the time to reform our gun laws to prevent more mass shootings. I say the ease with which anyone can keep and bear arms is an infringement on my right to go to school, free of the fear that our school may be the scene of a mass murder, like it was at Marjory Stoneman Douglas when 17 of us died. Like it was at Sandy Hook, where 28 of us died. Like it was at Virginia Tech, when 33 of us died. Like it was at Columbine, when 15 of us died. Like it was at Aztec, when 2 of us died. We must learn from history, not ignore it. The writing of the Constitution was in 1791 was a long time ago. Our country no longer tolerates slavery or the suppression of the woman's right to vote. Time has moved on, and so should our country. Thank you.
Our life, our most basic human right, our life, which comes before liberty and the pursuit of happiness, our life, which we now fear for every day we walk into our schools. We are here to advocate for civility and common sense. Americans have polarized the meaning of the Second Amendment. Those who seek to harm others do not contribute to a well-regulated militia, and they should never have access to guns. Nobody should have access to the accessories which turned that gun fully automatic. Machine guns were banned from the general public in 1986 for the sole purpose of avoiding the mass shootings which we see today anyway. How is an assault rifle that has been tampered with any better than the guns which America has banned? It's not. America is one of the only countries in the world today that treats gun ownership as a right and not a privilege, and it is the only developed country that continuously sees gun violence. It's time for our legislatures to stand up and protect the children of this state and of this country. Two New Mexico students, our fellow students in Aztec, is too many. Of the three of us who all have different perspectives on gun control can sit down and figure out a reasonable compromise, why can't our legislatures?
Thank you. Now we will give the floor over to Pewaukee High School.
My name is Samantha Baca. I'm 17 years old and I attend Pewaukee Valley High School. I was born in the year 2000. In the 17 years of my life, there's been approximately 188 shootings in America. The Columbine shooting happened in 1999. I have not known a school environment without the worry in someone's mind that a school shooting was a possibility. In elementary, I knew a lockdown as a code blue. I didn't know what it was for, but my teachers did. Then, in 2012, Sandy Hook happened, and the fear of a school shooting was introduced to me. I was 12. I couldn't rationalize what happened, so I ignored it. But there were people who weren't 12. There were people in power with the ability to take action and to prevent further massacre. Was there action? No. Was there change? No. Was the possibility of children losing their lives lessened? No. We aren't 12 anymore, and we are not going to ignore what is happening, or more importantly, what isn't happening. Action is now. Since 2011, more than 100 gun control bills have been proposed, ranging from stricter background checks to limited capacity magazines. None of these bills were passed by Congress. All of these proposed bills could have, in some way, prevented the deaths of so many students, of so many children. But nothing was done by Congress to protect us. I cannot stand the idea of young children sitting in class worrying about a person with a gun. I cannot stand the idea of my classmates trying to figure out how they would react to an active shooter. I cannot stand the idea of my teacher sitting next to me trying to rationalize if she could protect her students. These young kids, these teachers, and these classmates are not only mine, they're all of ours. In every school, in every city, in every state. There is a call for action in every school, in every city, in every state. Because that's how far gun violence reaches. It reaches every student and every teacher. But it will stop here. It will stop with us and with the actions we take to make our schools safer, to make our schools for learning and for growth. Not for fear, not for violence, and not for guns.
I know for me at least, I am tired of giving administrators and politicians a pass. It is bullshit and I will not let another tragedy go. People did not pay attention to me speaking. Right on. So my plea is not for the sake of the 17 lives lost in Florida, or the 2 students who were shot and killed here in New Mexico in Aztec. This is for all of you who mourn, for my peers who are a little more on edge going to the bathroom, for my teachers who have cried every day in fear that they will not be able to protect us. And for all of you who will stand with me and make change happen. Thank you.
18 years old and a senior at Monte del Sol Charter School. We know it must be done. Up until now, the NRA has kept us from being safe. That stops now. Guns in the United States must be better regulated. Any sane person knows that. We must protect our children, as well as those around them. Since 2003, New Mexico Congressman Steve Pearce has accepted almost $200,000 from the NRA. He is one of the top 10 recipients of NRA money in the country. He is running for governor. Pro-gun politicians, Steve Pearce always, without fail, sends his thoughts and prayers to victims. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. Pearce supported legislation protecting gun companies from being held liable for the damage that their products create. Use your voice and vote against those who sell out for money. In New Mexico, you don't need a permit to own a long gun or handgun. There is no firearm registration, no laws on assault weapons, no magazine capacity restrictions, owner license required, no long guns are required to carry permits, and open carry is accepted everywhere. Do I need to go on? No! We need this change. As other states changed and fortified laws, New Mexico waits for the change. We are the change. Only 34% of attackers were ever subjected to a mental health evaluation. Less than 1/5 were diagnosed with a mental disorder, although 78% expressed suicidal thoughts in previous suicidal attempts. Obviously, our system is broken. At my own school, my only counselor is part-time. She runs all college counseling as well as psychiatric help. How can one person who isn't even on campus all week be expected to help a student in crisis at any time? The combination of these two things, the easy access to weapons of war and the failing mental health system, has created the nightmare we are living in now. The fact that every school is practicing how to have the least casualties in classrooms, a place where our parents used to feel safe, is absurd. I never thought as teenagers we would have our lives threatened as they are now. There has never been more violence against us, nor more strength needed to keep going. But we are strong. My generation will not be complacent. We know the truth. We will speak our mind. We will support legislation we believe in. We will vote. We are going to change the world, so listen and join us. Okay, I'm gonna try. My voice is slowly dying, but we'll get there. I am here today to talk about New Mexico's place in this movement, in the March for Our Lives. I want to confront where we are as a state with firearm control, so we know where we have to go. So we can clearly see the mountains we will have to climb to reach a place where our future generations, our future New Mexican children, don't have to grow up the way we did. Personally, I was 11 when I experienced the threat of gun violence at my school. A former student drove by with a gun hanging out of the window, and I was in PE outside. I watched him go by and I didn't understand what happened because I was 11. And I know many of you have experienced much worse. I was 13 when I was taught how to fight for my life at school. I was 13 when I was taught how to barricade a door. I remember the principal explaining that if one of our classmates was left outside during a lockdown, we could not let them in. We had to listen to them bang on the door because they might be the shooter. And I was 13 when a dear friend of mine lost his mother in a domestic violence shooting. And I am someone who has been rather privileged with my experiences regarding gun violence in this state. My point is, New Mexico's lack of basic, logical, and necessary gun control has molded many parts of our childhood here in this state. So looking out here at you, at all of us, at us, I see survivors, even at our young age. We are the kids of a state where no permit is required to purchase a handgun or a pistol. In this state, under the Extended Domain Act, it is legal to carry a concealed, loaded firearm in a vehicle anywhere. That means to schools, to federal buildings, to parks, anywhere, by anyone, at any time. We have been raised in a state where firearm sellers are not required to be licensed, are not required to report who they sell their guns to, and where law enforcement cannot legally inspect gun shops or gun shows. What? We are the children of New Mexico here, and here there is no restriction on assault rifles or ammunition. There are no legal waiting periods, no magazine bans, and we boast one of the highest firearm trafficking markets in the country. This trickles down to all of us. A study done in 2013 revealed that in New Mexico, the third leading cause of death of children ages 1 through 18 was homicide. 74% of these homicides were committed by firearm. The second leading cause of death for us is suicide. 34 of those suicides are committed with a firearm. And I know that yes, a gun without someone behind it pulling a trigger cannot commit murder, but in this state, it is disgustingly easy to obtain a firearm. It is disgustingly easy. Criminals come here to buy weapons, and then they go commit crimes in other states. We have blood on our hands, New Mexico. We are the debris of the damaging way gun legislation has been handled here. So when I say we are survivors, I mean it. And when we say never again, we mean it. Because we have made it here today. We are the survivors, we are the fighters standing here today, standing united. But the path has been tattered with gun wounds. We stand here today, but there are gaping holes in our lives left by guns. There are people missing from us who should have had so much more time. And their memories walk with us every step of the way in this march. We are the youth of New Mexico. And we are not going to abandon future New Mexicans. We are not going to let them grow up at gunpoint. No more. So, for the people we've lost, we are marching for the people we've lost today and the lives we can save tomorrow. And we will continue this fight. We will sit in, we will lie down, we will march, we will vote. And we will rise. Thank you all so much.
Hello to you all. My name's Caitlin Cruz. I'm from OK Wingate Pueblo, and I'm 16 years old. It's hard to believe I'm even here talking here to you guys today. If things were right, we wouldn't be here. None of us. If things were right, this march wouldn't have happened. If things were right, children would still have their parents, and parents would still have their children. Teachers would still have their students, and vice versa. Athletes would still have their coaches. And by right, I don't mean forgetting about the situation and just sending out thoughts and prayers. I mean having the common sense to do thorough background checks, banning gun stocks, and so much more, rather than giving the people who have been sending threats through social media and disregarding it as just another angsty teen who doesn't know any better. Since the day of the Parkland shooting, I've come to think it's not long till it happens at my school. It's not long until another school is under attack. It's not long till everyone forgets about just what just happened, just as everyone moved on from Sandy Hook, Aztec, and Columbine, which started it all. But you know what? I refuse to move on. My fellow students refuse to move on, and we demand that our voices be heard. We come to the conclusion that one child is worth more than all the guns in the world. In my culture, I am taught how life is precious. Ranging from animals, evergreens, and humans, every single aspect is treated with respect and kindness. I like to think that of the world outside my culture, but sadly I am mistaken. Here we live in a world where children refuse to go to school in the fear that they will be shot. They will lose their lives in a place where we should receive everything except harm. I am taught that in order to receive good, you must do good. Yet over 7,000 innocent students have lost their lives since 2012 in the Sandy Hook shooting. That was 5 years ago. Not even a decade has gone by, and we have lost thousands of precious lives. Lives of those who meant something to people, to their parents, to their families, to their friends. People say guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, I beg to differ. Guns have destroyed everything my culture has taught me. Of course, we use them to go hunting, but is there anyone here who uses an AR-15 to go hunting? They are made distinctly to kill, and I'm sure none of us want that kind of weapon in the hands of anyone who's not trained, let alone a 19-year-old. No. But here we are, standing to defend what life we have left, trying to win the protection we deserve in the hopes of never losing another young soul. Fighting for what we believe, refusing to back down. This generation is making their voices heard all around the world. We will be voting come next election, and God knows we will make the change we need to see. We will persevere, and we will live. Yes. If we are not heard today, we will be heard tomorrow in the papers. We will be heard. We will be heard in music, and we are here to hear what my fellow classmate has to say through music.
Hello, it's Aaron Tenorio. I come from Santo Domingo, Pueblo. I'm 16 years old, and I go to, of course, Santa Fe Indian School. And I'm going to perform a piece that I wrote called Seventh Generation. Thank you. What the hell is this? Sitting on the couch watching the news. It's about a school that ain't even good. Another sad fatality. What is this? When will it end the insanity? Where is humanity? Is this all new reality? a place we live in, and our children will always envision. Why are we like this? There are so many questions. Yeah, there are so many questions. The violence and hate is spreading like a virus. It's sickening. So I say to my fellow warriors, rise to your feet, listen to the beat, especially listen to me. I'm gonna spit some stuff. The truth, canonist in this boot got me messed up. 7th generation rise up. It's our time to revitalize, decolonize, resuscitate our way of life. We're the ones that prophecies have said that will save our people from this obliteration and annihilation. Survive this alienation. It's our obligation to carry on what our ancestors died for. We will do this for you. Rise up, unite. The walls fall over. From here with the guidance of the spirits, we will take over. Save the culture, the people, the land, the air, the water, and eliminate the new world order. Native warrior status, no sugar coated prickly like a cactus. Rapping is my heart, and I use it for resistance, just to make a difference. Positive change, no more mass killings or your drillings. Feeling need the situation we are facing is compelling. There's no telling of a brighter future if we keep doing what we're doing. It's I need of some spiritual healing. So I want you to stand with me and start from our communities, our roots. Remember our morals, solve the problems, make tomorrow guaranteed. We are the future, we are one. My brothers and sisters, arm yourself against the oppressors. Be the resistance, protesters, protectors. Procure a happy future for our kids. I'm pretty sure we all want this. For the people who are uneducated, ignorance is bliss. But you need to know what's going around us, not just in the reservation, the deception all around the nation. There was people who hate and discriminate and execrate or corrupt. Enough is enough. You make things you do not have a big effect, but reality it doesn't matter how slow. If we all come together, we can make a better, healthy home and a brighter future. Just think of the butterfly effect. What do you say? Don't you want to say tomorrow today? Whatever class, I think of this country and I laugh. It's called the USA, but it really should be called the DSA. By the way, it was built, so many natives killed. Enslaved people worked all day in the fields. Do all you can to resist. Do all you can to resist. Resisting the system, the school to prison pipeline system. My fellow brothers and sisters, not given the tools to succeed. Power of privilege can take it a person a long way. Yeah, can't take it a person a long way. If I have the power, I use it for voicing the voices so unheard. For the people who are hopeless and think that any action is pointless, that is where you're wrong, my friend. I want you to rise from the dumps and overcome your slumps and fight for something bigger than all of us. You're far from useless. Thank you. The next school up is Santa Fe High School.
I don't know how I can follow that amazing performance. Can I get another round? My name is Ashley Jaramillo. I am 18 years old. I'm a senior at Santa Fe High School, and if you haven't been paying attention to the news locally, we've had so many threats to our school alone in the last 4 months, 2 of which were actual threats and had to be taken to court. Wow. Why am I sitting in a school where I'm being threatened during class? As someone who is heavily involved in the community as a Girl Scout and as a Student Wellness Action Team member, I am honored to speak to you here today. I was in a theater production called 26 Pebbles at School. It was a play written using interviews from the community of Newtown, Connecticut in the aftermath of Sandy Hook, where 26 elementary students and faculty were gunned down by Adam Lanza, who before going to the school killed his mother, then himself, before authorities could stop him. What the cast went through during the rehearsal process and even during the show was intense. Lots of crying, conversation, and discussions. What we wanted to portray was hope, community, which we need more now than ever. And to continue the dialogue that is a national and turning into an international issue. There was a post on KOAT News on Facebook that announced that the student rally that was being held at the school was approved by the school board so that students wouldn't be penalized for walking out. The comments from some adults on that post were atrocious. You don't act like it, for God's sake. You don't have to like it, but you should support us. Yeah, I get it. Some kids want to get out The rest are doing this to stand up for ourselves, which is what adults complain we don't do enough of. And now that all we hear is it's to get out of class, they're pushing the leftist anti-gun movement, and they're a bunch of brats throwing a tantrum. This was similar to some of the comments in that post. We are students fighting for our lives, and so that we don't have to be terrified we're going to get shot at school. We spend majority of our time there. We see teachers more than we see our parents. We should feel relatively safe there. I should not have to be scared of every little noise in the hallway. I should not have to be looking over my shoulder every 5 minutes at the door during a test. We should not have to be scared of the fire alarm should it go off. And this isn't talking about taking away your guns. Keep them. It's the fact that no one needs an assault rifle. That should be for law enforcement and military only. Why is it so easy for a young adult to get a hold of one? Why are they on shelves? Keep your guns. And whatever, but seriously, we don't need assault rifles. That's ridiculous. This isn't saying we need a ban on all weapons, because kids can still hurt each other with knives and with their fists. They're gonna get in fights. We're teenagers. But they shouldn't have the means to get a hold of a firearm. Let's also look at every other shooting that's happened, including Las Vegas, which wasn't committed by a teen or at a school, but so many people lost their lives because he was able to have things that should not be legal. Also, arming teachers is not a solution. Should be the only weapon on school grounds. Please, if you're eligible to vote, get out there and vote. Help us. In the words of Skip Marley, hate's been winning, but the lovers ain't done. We are the lions, we are the chosen. We're gonna shine out the dark. We are the movement, this generation. You better know who we are.
I'm 18 and I'm a senior at Santa Fe Prep. I would like to open with the question, how should you define a tragedy? Politicians whose interests are defined not by their constituents, but by lobbyists and corporations, might use emotional buzzwords like atrocious, repulsive, shocking, horrific, or unexpected to describe a school shooting. I would call it normal. The mainstream introduction to gun violence in the United States was at Columbine in 1999, but many of us were not alive or too young to witness or to understand it. My generation's introduction was in 2012, when Adam Lanza killed 28 students and adults at Sandy Hook Elementary School. The world was rattled and an era of regulatory activism was born. Protests sparked all around the country, and President Obama signed 23 executive orders and proposed 12 congressional actions regarding gun control, including one that banned all assault weapons and one that required universal background checks on gun purchases. Both bills died on the Senate floor. States can only be described in one way, normal, and our politicians don't seem to care. This is exemplified in specific incidences, such as when candidate from Maine Leslie Gibson referred to Parkland survivor Emma Gonzalez as a skinhead lesbian who deserves no sympathy. Or to survivor David Hogg as a bald-faced liar. But it's also reflected in our actual gun control laws, for which New Mexico is one of the worst. Firearm sellers are not required to be licensed or file sales reports with the state, and police inspections are not allowed at gun shops or in trade shows. There are no limitations placed on bulk firearm purchases, ammunitions regulations, and there are no background checks performed during purchase. There are no state waiting periods, ballistics records, magazine bans, or any restrictions placed on assault weapons at all. For handguns, rifles, and shotguns, there is no permit required for purchase, no requirement to register firearms with the state, no licensing of owners, and no open carry permit requirements. So what can be done? Well, as the next or brand new generation of voters like me, our voice can be an extremely powerful catalyst for change. When politicians like Florida Senator Elizabeth Porter asked, "Are there any children on this floor? Are there any children making laws?" or claim that the adults make the laws because we have the age, we have the wisdom, and we have the experience, we challenge that. We tell them that we do not feel safe in our schools. We show them that we are outraged at the idea that we should not be involved in the political process. If we can vote, then we choose to elect representatives who will listen to what we have to say. And if we cannot, we make sure that our activism counts for that much more. But one thing that we don't do is give up. I believe in optimism and I believe in hope, but hope by itself is not enough. Action is both the realization of hope and the antidote to despair. So I want to thank each and every one of you who is here today for not only choosing to remain hopeful, but for also choosing to take action, because we are not the future, we are the present. We are the knock on the door, the hard dose of reality here to let everyone know that we are tired of the status quo. We are tired of sensationalized media and normalized violence. We are tired of existing in a political system that values contributions from gun lobbyists over the lives of children. And we are tired of being told that our voices do not matter, because they do. In an age of increasing social awareness and progressive policies, we are presented with a unique opportunity and a moral imperative to create change and to be heard. So we will continue protesting, we will continue fighting, we will continue walking out of schools, and we will stand for change. The final product of our activism will be reflected in government policies that value our safety and not our money. We will be recognized and we will be heard. Thank you.
Today we came together to march for something we believe in. So let's talk about a topic that makes politicians uncomfortable. Gun violence is a huge problem nationwide. School shooting is a term we've become numb to. Why is it that so many innocent lives had to be taken in order to take action? Guns can be used for hunting or for other recreational activities at places such as shooting ranges. My family loves hunting and coming back with a kill. So no, I'm not against all gun use, but I don't believe there's a place for guns at school. Our schools are full of bright individuals who are the future of our communities. Their lives are worth making a change. Our lives are worth making a change. Gun control is key to solving this problem. Better background checks will keep future possible threats from occurring. More available mental health therapists at schools would help individuals who just need help finding better coping mechanisms. However, arming teachers is not the answer.
I'm from Taos High School. I'm 18.
And I'm Cora Garner, and I'm 17, and I'm a senior at Taos High School.
When I was little, I remember looking forward to high school. I imagined going to my first school dances, having my first kiss, and attending pep rallies. I did not expect pep rallies to turn into rallies organized to plead our government to stop allowing the death of children. I didn't think that I would learn about how to survive if someone decided to open fire on our school. When I was a freshman, our school had a lockdown in which police pointed guns at my friends in order to find a kid who threatened to shoot up our school. Throughout the years, we have endured numerous lockdowns. During the week after the Parkland shooting, we had 2 threats to the school. As a result, there were multiple police patrolling the campus for days. While this did make me feel safer, it also gave me a sense that I was in a dystopian future.
1 week after the Parkland school shooting, there was a school shooting threat to our school, and I remember hearing kids say things like, I have a calculus test, but I'd rather fail calc than die. And I remember texting my friend before school to ask her if she was going, because I was scared. And I said, isn't it crazy to think that we might walk through those doors and we might never come back? School is supposed to be a safe space. We're supposed to go to school to become better people. We are not supposed to go to school to become dead. According to CNN, in 2018, so far we've had an average of 1.5 school shootings per week. It is estimated that 346 people were killed in American mass shootings in 2017, compared to 432 in 2016 and 369 in 2015. Still no common sense gun laws, still no ban on assault weapons. Teenagers have been holding rallies, protesting and fighting for our right to an education. Some adults, however, still do not take us seriously. These are the adults who are supposed to protect us, and they are failing us. From them, our generation has inherited a dying planet. They have allowed a reality TV host to be elected as our president. We will not allow them to fail us anymore. Our congressmen, our representatives have an obligation to protect us. They are failing us. Any citizen can legally purchase an assault weapon, a weapon designed to kill mass numbers of people in a short amount of time. They are willing to sacrifice our safety. They are willing to sacrifice the future of America for a pocket full of money from the NRA. We are doing our part to make a change, and we challenge you to do the same. By this, we do not mean putting more guns into schools. If violence begets violence, then why would the solution to gun violence be more guns? We are asking you to create a safe and permanent solution to an ever-growing problem. The fact that children need to stand up for their safety in schools is proof that there is something wrong with the American psyche. This is for all the kids that never got to graduate. This is for all the kids that never got to go to their first prom. This is for all the kids that never got to have their first kiss. This is for all the kids that never got to grow up. We are here and we demand to be heard.